guys, how you doing? It's Henry. I'm Mowers and Blower. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've just spent about 3 hours cleaning up my garage. It's hotter than hell, so humid. This is my third t-shirt, just soaked right over it, you know? There's been stuff in my garage that I haven't seen in like 15 years. I kid you not. And sometimes you just gotta purge, you know? I've gotten to the point where I just can't save everything, you know? So I just threw out a whole bunch of stuff. Stuff that I haven't touched in, you know what they say, if you haven't touched it or seen it in a year, you really don't need it, you know? Even though you know in the back of your mind it might be worth something to somebody somewhere, right? It's kind of overwhelmed me, you know? So I feel a little better now. It's cleaned up. I know it doesn't look like it, but trust me, there's a lot of room now that I can put stuff. Shit. Today, I'm going to be working on my Briggs & Stratton single overhead valve. I don't know how many horsepower it is, but probably like a 16 or something, you know? So I think I have all the parts, so maybe I can put this engine together. In the meantime, I've moved stuff around, so I actually have my, I got my Kohler under there. I've got the 14 horsepower one that I got off of that MTD tractor. It's dark in here. I know you can't see, but it's okay. So I have like these 3 boxes of tile that was left over from the previous owner of this house, which makes it 20 years. My dad's old air-equipped 135. It's a, you know, negative slide projector. Not gonna need that. Oh, here's the Kohler engine block with the hole in it. I'm not gonna use that. So while I was cleaning the sump cover, I heard thunder and lightning, and I haven't put fertilizer down on my rear backyard lawn in probably 2 years because I got my dog Boba. But it's so hot, Boba doesn't come out anymore anyway, so since I know it's gonna thunderstorm, rain will saturate the fertilizer into the lawn, and then hopefully it'll all melt, and after a couple of days Boba wouldn't have anything to worry about. So as you guys saw from time lapse, I actually was getting ready to put the piston in, and it turns out that as I was putting the piston in, it like went all the way in. So I was like, is this piston too small? And this piston was too small. So finally I found a third piston that fit the bore. So even though this is a 31 cubic inch engine, I had a 28 piston in there, I guess, you know. So I actually have a 31 that I found over there and put it back on the connecting rod. I wasn't exactly sure which way the connecting rod went, whether it was the AVS letters on the top where you can see it, and I don't mean top because this is actually the bottom, right? But when you take the sump cover off, you usually see the AVS, not the numbers 28 through 31, you know? So I put in the piston along with the connecting rod. I greased everything with assembly lube from my friends over at Oil Products. Stuff is very good. It's very sticky. Anyway, so it's poured all around there. I tightened the two bolts over there with a torque wrench, right? And when you rotate it, it moves in and out without hitting anything. And then that's when you know you did it right. Because if you had it flipped this way, right, and you rotated it, it would knock on something. It would hit something. It's designed that way. So as long as you have it on there tight, right, and you spin the flywheel and the piston and connecting rod move freely without hitting anything, you know it's right. You guys noticed on time lapse, I was cleaning the sump cover, right? And I showed you that there was actually a crack in the sump cover. So I JB welded it, both sides. It's a small crack, not a really big deal, you know what I'm saying? I also cleaned the heads and the surfaces with the drill with the wired bristle brush on it to prepare it for the gaskets. Thanks to my friend Stephen Becker, who sent me a box of parts. There was a head gasket in there as well as a sump gasket, as well as a valve cover gasket. So thanks, Stephen. I'm going to be using your parts right away on this engine build. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the tappets. I always forget to put the tappets in. I once put together an engine. I rebuilt an engine, and once I had it all sealed up, I'm like, how come the push rods go all the way in and they keep going in and they don't stop? I forgot to put the tappets in. So I had to re-break that seal again, open up the engine again, put the tappets in. So as long as you put the tappets in, it's good. I've got this camshaft here, and all the camshafts on the Briggs single cylinder overhead valve engines that I know of. And I've built about a dozen of these engines, so I'm no rookie to it. I was, but now I've done a lot of them, so I'm no longer a rookie. It always says 579er on it. I haven't seen any other different ones. They all say 579. Anyway, this is pretty good. Has the ACR, compression release, and it springs back as it should, smooth. Just trying to get it a little bit clean here before I put it in. Get it clean before I put it in. Anyway, so it seems to be in decent condition with a decent lobe. Just want to get it nice and clean. No foreign objects. So this camshaft has the little notch there. This is designed to have the fuel pump, which is pressure lube, right? The fuel pump in there. This one doesn't have the pressure lube fuel pump, but you could use it anyway. But this notch is for that. So I've lined up the mark right here on the crankshaft gear, and you want to see the timing marks over here, right there. So I'm just going to insert it. And right there, it is lined up. The timing marks are lined up to the camshaft and the crankshaft gear. So that is good to go. Next thing we have to do is put on the governor gear. The governor gear, you always think, oh my God, does it just sit there like that? Yes, it just sits there like that. You just have to make sure that when you put the sump cover on, that it's lined up perfectly with the holes. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, see, here is the governor shaft right there, right? And this just sits This just sits just like that. See? It's loose and it just sits just like that. Right along that gear. You just gotta keep it there like that, lined up, and when you put the sump cover on, it's gotta be perfect, just like that. So I'm going to take some brake parts cleaner from my friends over at Lucas Oil. And since I've been putting stuff in and out and taking things out with my greasy hands, I want to clean the surfaces of any grease so that the gasket will adhere properly. I don't know if I'm going to wait until the sump cover cures of its JB weld. I think I should, right? But I'm not putting Earl in it yet, so I could actually just put it together. But then why would I put it together? Even if I put it together, I couldn't test it, right? So there's no real benefit into putting the cover on. So I guess I will let it cure. It is kind of dirty in there too, so I have to have it cure and then wipe it down too. Get the sump gasket on here, put the sump cover on, and then we're gonna finish rebuilding this engine tomorrow. I'm gonna put the head on, the push rods. We're gonna adjust the valves after taking the valve cover off. We still have to put a intake manifold and a carburetor onto it, but it does have the throttle plate bracket as well as a starter. It has the flywheel still on it already, which means it probably has a stator as well as a magneto on there. So all we need to do is put the head on, push rods, valve adjustment, sump gasket, sump cover, head gasket, head. You know, I do need to find some bolts for that stuff. I don't think I have any. Anyway, so I know it's not a crazy exciting video, but I gotta get these engines done, right? Otherwise they just sit in my garage taking up space. I do feel pretty good about cleaning out my garage, and unfortunately all that thunder and stuff like that, it didn't rain, so I put fertilizer down and there's no rain to dissolve it. So I think I might have to turn on my sprinklers because otherwise it'll burn my lawn, you know? Right? Anyway, so yeah, we'll finish this engine rebuild tomorrow. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.